Welcome back to the Shipyard. USS Excelsior. I won't say defined the game for a bit, but was a ship people played. Um, they played it because of the named ability. After you move, if no enemy ships are within range 1 of your ship, you may perform a scan action as a free action. See, range 1 is, fairly easy to get into, but also not. And you combo this with 3 crew slots and things that work with crew. Mr. Spock from Enterprise, and then some crew in this expansion, and you have an interesting ship. Now, with only 3 attack dice, you're not gonna win. At least not win everything. But remember, scan tokens reduce enemy defenses, so you can punch a better hole in their defenses. Plus, you've got 9 durability, so you're not going to die in one hit, which is always a plus. Nowadays, it's a little overpriced. The Excelsior class as a whole just needs a re-examination. It's not terribly off, right? You do get a 180 arc, you get a 90 rear arc, secondary arc. You still have that 9 durability, but 3 attack dice really does hold you back. The maneuver dial also hurts. Turns are red. 2 reverse is red. Only 4 green maneuvers to clear stuff. 4 straight's the fastest it goes. Yeah, there's upgrades to make it go faster, but Grandma's a wagon at this point, and she doesn't have wheels. At least, she doesn't have 4 wheels. Yes, I'm butchering the quote from Scotty. I'm sorry. The generic's not much better. Hey, at least you get 2 crew slots on this version. So that's something. Sulu's an interesting captain. Right, skill 4, 4 points. Again, feels a little pricey. You do get a talent slot. His ability, action, disable one of your crew upgrades to remove an opponent's target lock token from your ship. That's a nice ability. You can say, hey, I don't want to get shot at least not with quality. Your photon torpedoes, they don't work here. But is disabling one of your crew really the price you're willing to pay to not have quality dice thrown at you? Doesn't really feel like a Sulu thing to do. Sacrifice a crew for a little bit, even if it's you go to sickbay, you're disabled for a little bit. I mean, Mirror Sulu, drugged Sulu, Sulu under the influence of something while he's fencing shirtless. Yeah, sure. That Sulu, I buy this ability. Not Sulu once he's captain of Excelsior. That Sulu was much more prudent. Styles. Good old Captain Styles. Adds a tech slot, to the ship's upgrade bar. It's not a bad ability. It's actually quite a nice ability. It's not a great ability. Would love to see a slight discount on that tech slot. But there are several ships where a tech slot would be immense help. I think I've actually run Styles. Styles or there's a Tuvok, which costs 4. Skill 4 costs 3 points, but discounts a tech by a point. So it all comes out in the wash. It's, do you want a skill 3 or skill 4 captain? But fundamentally, they're the same. I used to have a shuttle build that ran those. Our talent here is faint. It's a nice military strategy. Here, action, discard this upgrade to target a ship at range 2 to 3. If you attack that ship this round, it rolls 2 less defense dice. So talk about telegraphing your intentions. Yeah. The problem I have is it's a one use. And it's a one use that, yes, it synergizes with the named ability of Excelsior. Not that you have to run it on Excelsior. But just rolling two less defense dice isn't really going to help you destroy them. I mean, sure, it makes sure that they don't prevent your attack from happening. But that's the thing. It doesn't prevent, say, attack cancellation. It doesn't prevent them mitigating your attack dice, making you roll less attack. Uh, and those are just things that can happen, and you end up with this zero sum game, and you've wasted your card for nothing. So, just some thoughts on Fate. Photon torpedoes are, well, these only cost 3, uh, but they also only roll 4 dice, and they really should pack a bigger punch. Transwarp Drive. This is interesting. This is a very Excelsior card. During the activation phase, if your maneuver dial reveals a 4 or 5 straight, you may instead use a 6 straight maneuver. So Excelsior can do a 6 straight. Very few instances where you want that to happen. Is useful in certain missions. Would be amazing in Kobayashi Maru when you're trying to either make the escape or get in range and do that quickly. So you got some potential. Any also potentially useful in say a racing scenario. I still like Chemosite more because Chemosite lets you speed up any maneuver on your dial. But Chemosite's a card that just feels stupidly broken in a good way. So take that for what it's worth. Transwarp Drive feels at least balanced. Positron Beam is an interesting card, and I've played around with this. During the planning phase, you may discard this upgrade to target a ship at range 1 of your ship. That ship immediately receives an auxiliary power token. So, yeah, it's at the start of the planning phase, which means that your opponent hasn't locked in their maneuver. But you can run a bunch of positron beams. And then you can just ox everybody. You could stack a whole bunch of ox on a ship. And then they're just in trouble for a while. Good luck clearing that. See, with enough auxiliary power, you can effectively take a ship out of the game. At least a ship that's dependent upon their actions. Other ships have passive means of quality or upgrade means of quality, built-in quality. But there are others that depend upon their actions. And if you run into those actions, you can shut them down hard with something like that. It's a niche idea. It's not a very good one, but it's an interesting one if you can play it right. All right, Dimitri Valttein is one of those scan crew. If your ship has a scan token beside it, when you attack, you may reroll up to 2 of your attack dice. He's kind of like Discount Spock, right? Spock is a battle station converter with a scan token, but he costs 5 points. Dimitri's a little kind of a mini target lock, right? Only 2 dice. But it only costs 3 points. I still think he's a little pricey. I'd rather see him at 2 points. But I'll take him doing something rather than nothing. And I have run him. I end up not wanting to run him because, again, he just feels a little too expensive. And I'd rather pay 2 more points to run Spock and get guaranteed conversions rather than random chance. That's just been my experience. Janice Rand is an interesting crew. After your ship moves, discard Rand to allow your captain to perform the action on one of their talent upgrades as a free action this round. So, there are a lot of times when you need to you need one more action, and one of those actions needs to be your talent. I'm thinking of, well, not necessarily Picard maneuver because that adds an auxiliary power, but um, I know that some exist, and I'm having trouble thinking of them right now. But there are good talents. Projected stasis field. No, that's a tech. Uh, huh. Hmm. Okay, I'm having trouble thinking of them, but they are out there. And if you can Janice Rand, you open up possibilities, and you open up more synergies to free talent and ship action or other action, crew action, that gives you a ton more to play with. Losier uh, just gives you a little more flexibility with weapons. Um, I think Losier's days are done because all the good weapons are time token weapons now instead of disable. So Losier is when your ship fires a weapon upgrade that requires you to disable it, you may disable Losier instead of that weapon upgrade. But just because time tokens are a thing doesn't mean that disable weapons should never come back in. I don't think they should be the default. I do think photon torpedoes, quantum torpedoes, basically torpedoes should be time tokens. That's what they represent. But I do think that some other weapons are better represented by being disabled. They require special attention in order to be used again. Now, Losier would be that special attention. He is the weapon specialist, and he could be disabled because that's his attention, and he would instantly deal with the weapon, and you'd be able to fire it again. So, yeah, some thoughts. I mean, that's more thoughts on what weapons do, but I think there's still a valid point. All right, that's the pack as a whole. There's some interesting cards. There's cards that open up different strategies, and this pack is probably a tougher one to get a hold of these days. But if you can, I think there's some interesting cards to at least play around with. And maybe it's a good pack to try out in, say, Tabletop Simulator, and or proxy them. See if you like them before you go play, pay a whole bunch for them, and then play with them in real life. Never hurts to do that. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and until next time, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care, guys.